creepy guy listing in the doorway.
On the branch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, welcome back. Hey there, buddy. Do you think, like, pointing at me and yelling was a good move for your longevity?
Yeah, these guys aren't very stealthy, are they?
No. But you know what? I think I don't think he's... these guys are model citizens. They don't care about their own self-preservation. They're just... these guys...
Yeah, I don't remember these guys popping up this early in the game either.
I don't either. I might be doing well enough now that it might be upping my difficulty dynamically.
Maybe that's it. I don't remember getting those guys until after finding Ashley.
Yeah, same. Well, I think I'm about to find Ashley. I mean, you could pull out a walkthrough and see how close we are. Because I know you're really like jazzed up to see that lowly bait. That's why, right? Is you just want to see the underage girl and
yeah, sure, we'll go with that.
look
Why
up
not?
her skirt. Totally not because you wanted to make commentary on the design of the game.
Yeah, totally. Because everybody loves escort quests.
Yeah. There are good escort missions. We played Chariot on the branch, me and Jamie, and that is a very good example of... I guess it's not quite escort in that it's the Chariot isn't a moving character, but it's sort of like a Crystal Chronicle sort of thing. Did you ever play Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles?
I did not.
Okay. Are you familiar with the concept? Like there's an item that like one person carries around, and that's like the anchoring item because outside of that is like a toxic field that you get damaged in. So it's a co-op game that necessarily keeps the party together by there's only one of this thing that keeps you safe.
Uh-huh.
And Chariot is similar. The game is like the camera is centered around the Chariot, and you have to move it around. You know, it's a co-op game based around moving this item around. And it takes both players to effectively navigate it. It's a really, really great puzzle game. It just turns out it's really hard to hold a conversation when you're solving a puzzle constantly with another person.
Yeah.
Cooperatively.
Silent Hill 2 did some clever things with its little escort mission as well, where how you treat the person you're escorting plays into the ending of the game.
Oh.
And it's not... Silent Hill 2 has one of the best, most clever ways of handling its divergent endings, in that none of them are determined by like explicit prompts that the game gives you or explicit choices. What it does is it tracks very subtle things about your play behavior.
Some of which are unfortunate, if I recall, right? That's the one where if you look at the knife in your inventory too much, trying to figure out what it does.
Correct. So early in the game, you encounter a character who's like about to like commit suicide by stabbing herself with a butcher knife, and she gives you the knife so that she won't do it. And that knife hangs around in your inventory doing absolutely nothing the entire game.
And you can't get rid of it, so you assume it's for something. Yeah.
Right, but it's there, and every time you try to examine it, you get points towards an ending where the main character becomes suicidal.
Because the knife is apparently the knife of making you suicidal.
Well, other things tie into that as well. So, for example, if you don't heal the character promptly after taking damage, that also gives you points towards the suicide ending.
Yeah.
Because in essence, you're not treating the character as if he respects his life.
Right.
As if he values his life. And so then at the end of the game, he doesn't, and he commits suicide.
Right. As opposed to thinking this is a survival horror game and I need to manage my resources.
And that's one of the clever things about it, because it takes that expectation about being a survival horror game and it like kind of uses that to manipulate the player. Because the combat and resource management in Silent Hill 2 is absurdly easy.
Mm.
You are given so much ammunition and so many healing items, and most of the enemies in the game you can literally just walk past because they're that unthreatening. In fact, it's not hard to get through that entire game without taking damage, with the exception of like 2 or 3 boss encounters.
So where does the tension in the game come from?
Well, it has a very depressing kind of atmosphere to it. What's weird about Silent Hill 2 is it's a horror game, but the horror doesn't come from being afraid. The horror comes from being depressed. Okay. It's more of a depressing game than a scary game. But it being depressing is also horrifying.
Oh, you know what? I have a map that can tell me if I'm going the right way, because it just occurred to me like the reason this might not be a very populated and interesting direction is I might not want to be backtracking this way yet. There might be something else I have to grab. Because did I get the church key? I might not have gotten the church key yet. And that might be why I'm encountering these guys, is I'm not supposed to be back through this area yet.
But also, Silent Hill 2 is very effective at employing surrealism. It's a very surreal game.
Okay.
And that creates, some uncanny horror as well.
Okay. You better drop some ammo or something, dude, because I wasted a lot of bullets. Thank you. Hey, shotgun ammo. Okay. Let's look at the map and make sure. Okay. Oh, there's a have key.
But anyway, again, going back to the escort thing in Silent Hill 2, again, the game doesn't give you explicit choices, right? Like, there's no, prompt that comes up.
Oh, I have a destination. And look, that's where I'm supposed to go.
Cool.
So I am going the wrong way. Cool. Thank you, game.
So it's not like Mass Effect, where the game gives you the color-coded blue and red, good guy and bad guy options.
Did this exist in the GameCube version?
Yes, the map was in the GameCube version.
Was it that good?
It might not have been that detailed.
I might have just never used it. I like that map. Good job, game designers.
It's not as good as a Silent Hill map, but...
Yeah, or the Metroid Prime map was pretty good other than using it. Like, did you ever play any of the Metroid Prime games?
No.
Okay.
I was not a Nintendo person, so I missed out on most of those games. I was Genesis and then PlayStation.
Okay.
So...
Oh wow! So you haven't played a lot of the great classics, like
yeah, and one of the reasons for that was because I had an uncle who, several years in a row, like when I was a kid, bought me Super Nintendo games, and I did not have a Super Nintendo. I had an original Nintendo, right? I had the NES.
Oh,
I
like
did not
you
have
just
the
didn't
SNES.
realize, and
So
you kept
so
forgetting?
he could never remember which one of them it was. So after a couple of years of making that mistake, he ended up just buying me a Genesis so that he could remember which friggin' video game console I had for when he would buy games. And it's a shame, too, because I remember, I explicitly remember one of the years he gave me it was the Super Empire Strikes Back game.
Okay, and people like that one. It's
which I believe
it's super hard.
which I believe was supposed to be a really good game, even though
Yeah.
it wasn't very representative of the movie. But
it's ultra hard, unfortunately.
yeah. I think I played it at other people's houses, I think, at some point.
Yeah, maybe if you'd had enough friends, you could have taken your Super Nintendo games to their houses and played with them.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Actually, I kind of wish I had done that more. Well, the problem is I lived in just a very Nintendo neighborhood. We might have been the first house with the Genesis, and it was years after the launch. I mean, we got our Genesis in, 1994, I think.
Right, and then I hopped onto the PlayStation bandwagon and haven't really looked back since. I wouldn't consider myself like a PlayStation fanboy. It's just, it happens to have the, all the game series that I were most interested in.
Scripted first head explosion. Okay. There we go. Now, I think I just want to switch the rifle on these guys because it's a very... the handgun is a very inefficient use of my ammunition here.
Yeah, and their head isn't hard to shoot.
Especially with the scope on, engaged. And that just one-shots him, and while I've got the rifle out, excuse me, line up here. Oh, he's going to explode another head out anyway. So, right?
I don't think you will.
No? Oh, okay. That was just our introduction to heads explode into new heads. Just all heads all the time.
But yes, the PlayStation had, Metal Gear Solid, it had Final Fantasy, it had Silent Hill, it had Devil May Cry. All the game series that I liked were on the PlayStation. So I never got an Xbox.
Well, and that's an exposure thing too, I'm sure, because I never had any affinity for those games because I never had the consoles that they were on.
But the Xbox had, the big Xbox games were like Halo.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
It was a dude bro game, yeah.
Yeah, for the frat boys playing it at
their
the dorm.
Was the joke. That was the frat boy game before GTA
Call of Duty.
or Call of Duty, yeah.
Right. And I don't, as I've said before, I'm just not that big into shooters, So, yeah. The one thing that got me close to buying an Xbox was Forza.
Oh, was that an Xbox
the auto
exclusive
racing
at
game?
first?
Yeah, I think it's still an Xbox exclusive.
It could be.
Because it's developed by Microsoft.
Is it?
Or at least a second party.
Oh, okay. They fund it fully.
Yeah. Because I was very big into Gran Turismo and stuff like that when I was younger. And until Gran Turismo 4 and Gran Turismo 5 stopped being racing games and became car collecting games. My criticism of Gran Turismo 4 and Gran Turismo 5 is that they are the Pokemon of car games. It's not about driving the cars, it's about collecting them in your garage. Like, seriously, like Gran Turismo 4 introduced several features that were just like completely silly. Like, one of them was you could pose the car in front of backdrops and take pictures of them. And one of the other features that Gran Turismo 4 introduced was the ability to have an AI race the car for you. And all you did was tell it whether you wanted it to drive slow, drive medium, or drive fast.
Okay, can you remember that's there for me?
I'll try.
I shot it down, bang bang.
And that was the transition to not being a game about actually driving the cars anymore. And that was where it killed my interest in Gran Turismo and in racing games.
Well, that bad. Just racing games are dead to me now.
Yep. I think I played like a couple of Need for Speed games after that, and like I had a passing interest in games like The Crew, and but I never actually got around to buying it. Like, I played the demo and like just was not completely sold on it. So I never bought it. You know, I never got into like the street racing kind of things. You know, like the Need for Speed games that were all about.
The last racing game that I enjoyed. It's been a while.
For me, it was the last two that I enjoyed were Gran Turismo 3, which was phenomenal, and Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2.
I think the last racing game I really got into, and this is going to be weird, is, do you remember the arcade game Outrun 2?
Uh-huh.
That game was a really solid, robust racing game once you got good at it.
Yeah, I was so into racing games. Like, this was like shortly after I'd moved into my house on my own, my first house.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to drop like $150 or $200 or whatever for like the fancy-ass steering wheel for Gran Turismo 5, I think. And then the game came out, and it was crap, and I didn't buy the wheel, and thank goodness I didn't buy the wheel, because I would have never used it again.
How do you feel about drift racing games? I really like them.
I prefer the technical,
okay,
course racing games. I do not care for drift and street racing.
And I think the reason I like drift specifically is it's kind of a two-tonal control, so one of the drawbacks to racing games in general is inherent to... Ooh, I bet if I shoot that at the right spot, it blocks that current. Yeah. It's like a bimodal form of control, which is extremely positive for the context of you don't have a feeling for the grip on the road, so you just change how fast you steer by going into the drift. Does that make sense? Does that jive? So you turn faster you turn faster and better while you're in the drift, and so the way to activate like the better steering is to activate that.
Well, yeah, if you're talking about a very arcadey racer.
Yes. Well, and I think arcadey.
If you're drifting in a simulation racer, then you're probably doing it wrong.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed.
And I was more into the simulation racing.
Oh, and in my opinion, you need force feedback for a good simulation racer. And very good force feedback.
You mean like beyond just like the dual shock vibration?
Yeah. You need actual resistance to the motion. And even then it's not perfect. Like the more... What's funny is an arcade is the best way to make a simulator, right? It gives you the option to have the most hardware that gives you feedback as to like, get that feeling of your grip on the road, the RPMs of the engine.
Console players, you have things like, they have like the racing chairs and things that you can buy that vibrate and things like that.
Do a lot of racing games take advantage of those? I'm guessing because they're made for a hardcore fan base.
Because I haven't played any of them since playing like 5 minutes of Gran Turismo 5 and being sick of it.
It's I agree with the simulation when it comes to giant robot games. Like the more I feel like I'm actually in the cockpit of
Steel Battalion.
Yeah, like that, but better. I want that. I want the Mech Warrior version of that, which maybe the newest one is. I haven't played Mercenaries or 5 Mercenaries. It might be really good. Is it out
Warrior?
yet?
You're talking about a Mech?
Yeah, is 5 Mercenaries out?
I don't know.
I should look into that, because if it is,
I tried the demo for the Kinect version of Steel Battalion, and that was absolutely abysmal.
Oh, you know what? I'm just going to run back this way. and you guys can chase me over here.
Can they jump over those?
They have to be able to because there were ones on that side.
Oh,
yeah.
I get your Punisher and shoot through them. Remember, your handgun is supposed to be able to shoot through enemies.
5 ammo. This shoots through guys just fine, and they're all lined up, and they fall into the water just fine. Oop! If I don't miss.
I think you're in trouble now.
Yeah, you see them all right in front of me.
This is a shotgun moment now. You have shotgun bullets now.
Well, I didn't put ammo in it. Ah! Okay.
You just threw a grenade into the water. What the hell? I thought you said you were good at this game. Good lord.
I'm great at video. I am the best at.
Are you going to slap them with the fish now? Is that what you're going to do?
I'm going to eat the fish and I'm going to run.
Are you going to go?
I'm going to turn around. I'm going to throw a flash grenade at them. And now I'm going to start shooting them with a shotgun.
I like how you looked right at the flash grenade going off and it didn't affect you at all.
Now here's something that Amerith has pointed out to me. That she said I had to bring up, so I'm glad we finally got shotgun ammo. Why does the shotgun have a laser sight? Can you explain that to me?
Go finish him off with your knife. Why are you wasting ammo? Good lord. Ugh. Watching you play is frustrating me.
Oh, because I'm not being ultra conservative enough with my ammo?
Yeah, you're missing very easy opportunities to save yourself some ammo.
Yeah, I don't feel like I have to be ultra conservative at this point, though. I feel like the game is giving me enough ammo, and I'm having to like inventory space manage. Is there a secret here? No, there's not. But you know where there might be a secret? Jason.
Next time on the branch?
Yes.